I bring on today Pete Speranza, who is the CEO of Wicked Kitchen. So he's not a total outsider, but he did spend 23 years with General Mills. Pete, thanks for being with me today. So who's getting the big bucks and what do you think is going to play out, let's say, in the next 3 years?
Think about the word vegan, right? And think about organic once again, right? Think about those two words. And then you're just like, all right, not didn't go that far, isn't very exciting. It's good for a core people that were really like, we need to see change. But this plant-based word, right, which is pretty generic, but it really includes everybody to get involved, right? Including large and big. So to your point around having large companies like General Mills or others get that in tune with it quickly and actually figure out what they're going to do with it is way better than what it used to be, where it used to be the small against the large. And there used to be this fighting going on in between, when you're in those kind of spaces. And then the regenerative ag, right, is another word that has come up lately. That is another one that gets people highly excited. Like I'm here in Minneapolis, Minnesota, right down the road is Cargill, right? One of the largest, ag companies in the world, if not the largest private for sure. And you already see the investments that they're making. They're making investments in tons of regenerative ag projects around the world. They're thinking about changing out a bunch of different ways how they manage transportation, all the electric cars and everything that are happening in trucks. Like that's all being generated because these things became mainstream conversations for everybody to be included, which is awesome. Because the old world, it was the small against the big. It was, and I'm not putting an investment there because I don't think it's going to be big enough. But when these two words that are so somewhat generic, but in reality, it changes the game of everybody in the industry and how they think about it, that you're not just seeing investor money, but you're seeing large consumers, customers that are putting R&D dollars on it like crazy because they know that's what the future is. It's been fun to watch, from once again in Minneapolis, General Mills' headquarters here, Land O'Lakes is Hormel is here, and I could see all four of them because I get a lot of local news around what they're doing, and they're changing quite drastically because they see where the consumers are going, and that's exciting because it means there's a lot more, not just money from investors, but there's money from these big companies that are thinking about it differently as well, because they're not going away per se, but can they change their whole portfolio in the next 10, 20 years? For sure they can. Can they help the planet a lot faster than, maybe even Wicked can? Probably. Might as well have more people in it than just us trying to figure it out. So I love the idea of inclusiveness and just getting the whole planet seeing it sooner than later. And we work with tons of investors globally that are feeling the same. And they're not just putting money in, but they're actually doing something too, which is awesome.
Yeah, it's funny that you mentioned this because I just had an interview on the New York Stock Exchange and we were talking about, are you sure it's really going plant-based, Elizabeth? Isn't it just a fad? And I say, well, no, it's a shift of the entire global food supply system. What you might see on the shelf is a plant-based product, but you're seeing industry get behind and shift all of their business models because they need a better business bottom line, so they can't waste water, they can't waste land, they can't deforest. I mean, these things are catching up with them, and they're seeing not just consumer driven, I think, but they're seeing like for their bottom line, it would be better if they used less resources, which are just going to go up in cost as we have less arable land to work with due to climate change and a growing population. They're seeing how tricky and inefficient and a bad business equation the current food system is, and that there's money to be made by shifting. And, hopefully they're interested in helping the planet. I'm not sure, but they're on board. And this is what makes me say, it's not a fad. It's industry coupled with consumer shift.
Totally right.
That makes it inevitable.